Good to see you. No, it's a busy time of year. Those of you who are watching and seeing this come up on your radar, come on in to the Zoom room. Let's have some glorious time together. And I'm going to open us up in prayer, team, if you want to watch for people coming in. Father, we thank you so much, Lord, for the incredible honor it is to serve you, Lord, that we get to serve you. We get to be the hands and feet of Jesus. And Father, we thank you that any of us who align to your design, who listen to your voice and are committed to the process of becoming, and lean in. That is only through practicing and creating the content and learning about who we are and who we serve and the problems we solve best and getting better at it by being willing to fail fast. It's the only way. We have a heart to serve and we desire to be the ones who transform this world. And Lord, we thank you. We thank you for the finances to do that. We thank you for the tool set, the mindset, and the skill set that allows us to have the assets to grow our business, to create the life for our families, to be able to change the lives of the people that you've called us to. So we give you all the glory in advance in Jesus' name. And everybody says, Amen and amen and amen. Well, it must be a busy time to have a small group this morning. So if you are just coming on and you're seeing this live and Born to Influence and you want to hop in, come on in. I am excited to be able to help you guys. Would love to hear. I would love to hear your wins, Lori. If you want to, I'll highlight like you. If you want to come in and share, I would love to hear some of your wins. You've had a lot, girl, and it is really exciting.
We do. We had a huge last few weeks. We're
Tell us some more.
incredibly
Tell us some
well.
more. Tell us some more.
Um,
Tell us some more. This is exciting.
we have several new authors. We also, with one of our newest books, children's book is coming out this week. And
Amazing.
we've been rocking and rolling on that. So we are pushing out and creating all sorts of new social media that I am just so excited about. Our team is amazing, and I say that every time. We also are in the middle of putting together a three project deal with one of our dear friends, and it's going to be huge all through next year. And that
Amazing.
I am just honored to even be a part of that. So
So
that's
lots of great
going
stuff
on.
that's coming up.
Yeah,
Lots of big
yeah,
wins. And I
yeah.
think you guys had some big sales as well
We
last
did.
week.
We
So
did last week.
I'm
Yep. And more
excited.
coming this week and next. So we're trying. I made a promise that I was going to have a certain amount by the end of the year, and I think we're going to meet that.
And what is
So
that? What is that
that's
amount? What was your
we
goal?
looked at a dreaming big for a 60,000 60K by the end of the year in 3 months. And I think we're going to be very close. For me, I, I'm happy about that, but I am more honored and excited about what we're creating and how we're
Yes.
creating it.
May I give you permission to be excited about both?
Yeah,
Because I think
yeah.
as Christians, let's talk about that for a second. Because I think as Christians, we hesitate and we act as though, oh, we have to gloss over and quickly go over the financial rewards. And
Yes.
if you do that, what will end up happening is that at some point you'll be believing for more, but you'll have talked yourself like it's not as important. But then all of
Mhm.
a sudden you have team and expenses and overhead that actually does need to be met, and you won't be able to meet it because you have dishonored
Yes.
money,
Yes.
right? we
Agree.
we act as though
Agree.
like, like, money's the root of all evil. No, it's not, right?
Mm.
Like, it's the love of money that's the root of all evil, right? If you're loving the people and using the money to love the people, and not loving the money and using the people, right? And you're loving the people and serving them, and this is where it gets to, and this is where you want to get to, where you're
Yes.
mindful of the money and you're
Yep.
excited because of what it's going to do, but don't allow yourself to get in a place of talking it down,
Yes. Agree.
right? Because then you can be talked
Yep.
out of the next season, which I would love to see you and walk you through doing $1 million in 2025, right? Because now
That's
you see it as possible.
yeah, that's the goal.
Now you
So,
see it as a reality because
yes.
you've made those decisions, right? To come into, to change your mindset, to create the offers, to upgrade your offer, to create a price point that felt honoring you, to
Mhm.
enlarge your team so that you weren't
Yep.
burnt out.
Yep.
I'm really excited about all of this for you.
Me too. And on the other side of that, I think I mentioned this last week. This is the first time that I went away for a long weekend to Florida, enjoyed ourselves, took one of our grandchildren,
Oh.
and I didn't have to really do lots of work.
Come on,
I
say
was
that again,
listening.
girl. That's the
Yes,
whole.
my team was handling it. And it was like, wow. So it's been a long while for that.
Well, I love it because you're the wow girl for everyone. And your wow that you just had right now was for yourself.
Yeah,
And I'm really excited about that, right? Because there's something super healthy, and everyone listening and everyone here in the group, it's very healthy to celebrate yourself,
yeah.
contrary to some church belief systems. It's super healthy.
Thanks,
So,
Tiffany.
can we take a second to kind of dial into that? Because this wasn't planned at all, but I'm just thinking, since we're here, if you want to share a little bit about, like, before you started working with me, talk a little bit about, right? You were more a solopreneur. You were kind of by yourself, right? What did that model look like for you? It was
Um,
you as the
mhm,
center.
yep. I had Nikki very part-time.
Okay.
Um, we had the desire and periodic work of Shelby. Um, our publishing assistant that I work with, I've worked with her, but it's only when we are at that point of needing her assistance. And so
So at a
we,
at a sense that you weren't bringing in enough money to be able to
yes,
then hire everybody you really wanted to at the level that you wanted to,
correct,
right? So
correct.
hire more, but you
Yep.
had like two part-time.
Even less than part-time.
Okay.
Yeah,
So like sort of time, we'll call it.
correct.
Everybody likes sort of time. I just made that
I
up.
like
Yeah.
that.
That's sort of time,
Ah,
right? It's like I
I
call
love
I
it.
call people who aren't really in the space yet wannapreneurs. So,
Uh-huh.
it's like above. So you're not a wannapreneur because you really are doing the work, but now you have a
Yeah,
sort of time
yeah,
person helping.
I
Okay,
love it.
so there
And
wasn't
then,
enough. There was like sort of team
yep,
and sort of money,
yep. And then the
right?
bulk of my work, even though we were publishing, we were working on our WOW program and developing authors, but the bulk of my income is coming from the other side of my work, which
Right.
is therapeutic coaching.
Right. So
And
you're working to
mhm,
fund
correct,
the real thing,
correct.
right? And now, so tell me a little bit about, so it sounds like that'd be a little bit stressful, right? Because
Yes.
your offers were probably lower too,
Yep. Yep.
right? So your offers lower, you're probably working more.
Yep.
Anytime you went on a vacation,
I had to
it
work
wasn't a
while I was
vacation,
gone. Yeah.
right? So vacation was a pretend vacation, we'll call it. Because I know
And
I've done a
it's
ton of those.
part-time vacation,
Right.
part-time work. Yeah.
Right? Sort
Yeah.
of, sort of time. We got a sort
hmm
of time vacation as well. So,
Yeah.
sort of time vacation, lower offer. Your full time job
Mhm.
is funding your business. You
Yep.
aren't making enough money to then be able to hire the people that you really want and have them to be able to work at the level that they're at.
Yep.
You know, did you feel like, because I know you've learned a ton coming in about, the
hmm
marketing side, the conversion side, where was this, the kind of the skill set around business for your team, before you started working with us?
well, Nikki worked more part-time than she does now. And we were growing in how to use her. So part of it was also her learning about the business.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't help on the therapeutic side at all. Most
Right.
of people only work on, the publishing side.
Right.
So
But
she's
let me just
heavily
ask you in a different
wow.
way of,
Yes.
so Nikki is coming in, she's working on this side, but you didn't have the support or the training to teach her how to do it.
To a point, she was learning through some of our new products. We were learning together in some of the new software that we wanted to
Okay.
use. She was growing her editor side. She was doing more VA work, which now she even rebranded. And she found out that she really loves working in the story development and editing side even more. She has
Mm.
grown heavily in social media. It's an
Mm-hmm.
offering for all of our clients. And then bringing Shelby on really helped us to brand every author and to have the look and feel that we wanted. So
Mm.
that was very new. And then having both of them to help with book launches and retreats, and they were growing and how to help me do that. So that
Mm.
was that was huge. We've all grown together in this process.
Well, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what is that? So let's talk about it a little bit now, right? Because now they've grown in how to help you
hmm
as the founder.
Yep.
So
And
share.
for me to know how to use them,
Yeah.
having a team sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
I've always had a team my whole career. But the difference is you have to know how to use them and how to
Mm-hmm.
train them or how to help them get training. And
Mm-hmm.
so, even being able to come on with you and being a part of all that has allowed them to grow in different ways too.
Exactly. Like you're saying too, I'm sure that as Nikki was going through all my modules and my teaching and coming to the weekly and having that opportunity, that
Yep.
she had her own aha of, wait a
hmm
sec, I maybe was good at VA and it maybe is my zone of competence, but my zone of excellence maybe, around the social media and the editing and the story side of things, and even maybe to a degree her zone of genius. So how does
Yes.
that also, right, feel? Because this helps me too, right? When I'm thinking about creating other things or creating parts. And this is why for my academies, I include team, is I
hmm
find that if you lose connection when a founder is part of something and the team isn't,
Yes.
right? Because they're not growing in it. There isn't a common language about things. They're not being trained up to be their best self. Like you genuinely, as a founder, because I know your heart, want your team, Nikki and Shelby and others as they come along too, for
Mhm.
them to be able to reach their highest potential of what Christ has called them to,
Yes.
right?
Amen.
And so it probably gives you a ton of satisfaction
Yes.
in that. So
Very much so.
share a little bit now. What is so now, like you said, you have an actual real vacation.
hmm
Your team sounds like they are in their zone of genius.
Yep.
It sounds like you've made some adjustments with your offer and price point,
Yep. I
that
should
you're
say
bringing in
yes.
the cash. So really going from, you know, so over the 3 months getting to 60K. I mean, that is a, that's life changing and
Yeah.
exciting because now, you know, you've got the great foundation to go the next level,
Yes.
right? Whereas if you just went to the next level and didn't have this foundation, you would not have had these big wins. You wouldn't have learned how to close sales at a higher offer. You wouldn't have people properly trained up to support you so that you know that if you're lying on the beach or playing with your grandkids, that they're actually fulfilling the thing that they are supposed to be doing.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it sounds like the roles are more clear too. It sounds like you're all very excited about 2025.
Oh, yes. And the girls attended for me the preloaded year
Yeah,
last week. And so we are in the middle of starting to map that out. So we
good.
know a lot of what's going on now. So, this 3-month period has really helped us know what projects we have. Um, Shelby is amazing at project management.
Mm,
And so that's going to help us incredibly. And we are then looking at, Stephanie is still doing a little work here and there for certain things. It's not stopping with where you are. It's being able to know
mm,
who do you need more of, or who else do you need to fulfill something. We just brought on board as task oriented the person that's doing all of our um, um, either book trailers or author trailer. And we are pushing them out, and y'all have to be on our feed. They are such quality, and
mm.
she is adorable. So we now have someone that's doing that higher quality that we can push out for our authors,
I love it.
which is needed. So it's not about growing and putting out an okay product. It's really truly digging in to then develop that product
Mm.
and the nuances of that product.
That's so
So,
good. Because of course, if you're not really digging in and not listening to your people and not in the ground floor, so to speak, you don't really know what's best, right? Like I love the
yes.
story about Elon Musk, right? Like literally sleeping on the floor, right, as he's creating things. It's, because you want to have your ear to that. And it sounds like you've captured it really well. You're training your people well so that they can also run alongside with this vision. What are you
Mhm.
feeling like, now that you've got this, somewhat running? What are you feeling like is necessary? Because of course, as you move along, you're going to want to make sure that the, retention stays, your
Mhm.
client retention
Yeah.
and client acquisition, because as you know, you can start working on a project and you're like, wait a second, right? So we haven't kept up with that. What do you feel like you need, or a question from me, to ensure that you're closing 1 to 2 sales every week or more, depending on price point, and to get to that, and we're going to have a call. So, team, make sure you send a
Yes.
link to Lori to meet with her team next week to talk about all of these things. And then, of
Yes.
course, working
Thank you.
together at the higher level in 2025. So, retention, acquisition, it sounds like, this is kind of a natural heartbeat over here, right? Because you
Mhm.
all very
Mhm.
stay connected. And to continue to get to, right, to get to the 100K months, what what would that look like for sales for you for a month?
That is a very good question because we are bringing on and acquiring new either referrals or new people that we're working with from Facebook, um, and just folks, word of mouth is
Yeah.
so much of what we do. And one of the challenges is we are a boutique author um, development type of company. We are
Yes.
not a one and done and moving them forward.
Mm.
It really is that we want them to stay with us, obviously, but also we want to know what our bandwidth is. And we have been talking about, how do you find that sweet spot where, yes, we're still bringing people into the community. And yes, we're going to have a product in there for them, which we think will
Mhm.
be so important. But, we can only fill so many slots. And
So why
so,
is that? So let's dial into that because some of it can be
mhm,
mindset and some of it can be a little bit of reality, right? But I would
yes.
say it's a good problem to have. So if I'm hearing
Mhm.
you right, it's like we want to make sure that our follow up, we have a system for follow up
Yes.
so that we don't lose people because it's also
Yep.
part of your I call it brand mutation. So your
Mhm.
brand's reputation. And everybody out there, I'm the one who made up that word. So if your brand mutation, just like authentainment, these are my words, your brand mutation is dependent upon these things, right? Because it your word of mouth, people sharing about how much they love you. Also, if they're like getting in touch with you and they want to work with you, like I was trying to find somebody in a professional field, a dentist, and like I called and called and nobody ever called me back. Like just that right away just irritated
Mhm.
me. It was like, okay, there's just, even if they eventually get back to me, yeah, I'm not interested, right? So you want
Yeah.
to make sure that this is happening because let's drill down if you're okay with that for a second. Because
Sure.
going from 20K months to which congratulations, I am super excited. And for me, it really like every time this happens, it just like in my heart, I'm just so happy that I've created things the way that I have. And of course, we can chat about like ways to improve that, of course. But I feel like if you're getting to that and you have such a foundation and your mind now can conceive that you can get to 100K months, I've really done my job well. Like for me, that's like, right, because if your brain can take this in, we're halfway there,
Yeah.
right? Because the rest is just is activity. So it's the question I hear you is like, how, if I hear you correctly, how do we maintain the level of excellence and
Mhm.
boutiqueness and customer care and
Mhm.
love for our people while we're growing,
Yes.
right? Would that be the question,
Part of
right?
it, yes. Part of it, yes. The other side of it is when you are developing authors, we work with them on book signings and their
Mhm.
book launches. And that is when you look at even the big publishers, they stop at a certain amount, but then they slot them for the next year. And so it's a matter of continuous
Mhm.
development for those authors. And so we're looking at, all right, who do we need to work through in learning to be an author and that process? But then who then is slotted that's at that stage to actually launch in this year? And then who really just needs us for PR and marketing so
Exactly.
that there's another level there? And so we're trying to look at what can our numbers be in each of like the ABC that we've talked about before so that we get to that level of supporting as many as we can, but yet still offering the quality that we do.
Yes. And this can be a bit of a challenge in
Mm-hmm.
that, because when people say, multiple streams of income and they talk about, multiple six-figure streams of income, they're not telling you the truth.
No.
There's actually no such thing.
Yeah.
What does happen is once you see your tool set plus your skill set plus your mindset creates assets, then your assets, you may have the power of cash to buy things, to buy or invest in, and then you're having other streams of income. That's what it means. But for an entrepreneur like yourself, who's a founder, is a female founder, it's dialing in to the one thing, Lori, which is
Mm-hmm.
really hard to be able to. So, and we'll talk about this, but for homework, right? Because there's a team involved, I want you to list all the stuff you guys love that would
Yes.
be in your one package, right? When we look at the
Yep.
five ones.
And we have done that. So yes. Okay.
Yes, but there is still, because, and I get it, right? Because of the skill sets, because of your heart for people, what will end up taking you out is going to be the good will be the detriment of the best,
Mm. Yeah.
right? And where you have too many things. We want to have one product for 2025. That's your focus. Now, you can still have a downsell like I have, like BTI is my
Right.
downsell, right? So
Right.
someone who
That's
isn't
kind of what we have. Yeah.
scaling, right? Somebody who isn't scaling yet, I can have a conversation and they know that I can deliver on the higher. So they're going to definitely know that I'll have. And that will probably be, so that would be your, and you're probably going to have where you teach once a week and your team does everything else for
Hmm.
the downsell,
Yeah.
and that
Yes.
you don't hop on any calls with any of these people.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is stuff I teach in the next level, right? So we really dial into growing your sell by chat team, growing the side of team, how to create playbooks. So really write down what are the things we really love and we feel would be the best. And then what could we part with? And I know this is actually going to be the hardest thing for you, because to streamline, to have one product, you're going to, for the next 1 year, you're going to dial in so that we can get to 1 million. And everyone, hang on who's in this call, because you're in BTI because you want to see this happen for you. So pay attention and listen. And those of you who are watching online who couldn't hop in, I know you guys are probably Christmas shopping and there's choir practices and school plays. And I 100% get you. But the hundreds of people that are my clients, I want you to dial in for 1 second, because this will happen for you. And this is a good problem to have, right, Lori? So, one product, you want one next year to focus on. You're going to dial in, right? Whether it's organic reach or it's in Facebook ads, right? And there may be a combination, because I'm teaching this about for the next level for an event to have, right? Because you can actually collapse timeframes and you can do it in a shorter period of time. What What would you ideally like your one product price point to be so that you can get to the 100K months?
Right now, we are around with one product. Our main product is we have pushed up to the 12 to 13,000 range. I do believe we'll go higher than that in next year.
And
But that,
are they working with you for a year?
mhm,
Okay, so if you're doing a boutique end-to-end system,
yep.
okay, minimum of 20,000, you and I will have a conversation what that would be.
And that's on our newest price stuff that we're headed to. We've been kind of like going up a little bit each
Hmm.
one that we've been working with.
Right. Well,
So,
we can dial in, but you can see how quickly, right? If you're having a 20K product and you
yes.
have five people that come into your world,
Mhm.
that's a very doable process for you,
Correct.
right? Because that would look at 60 people over the next year. And maybe I would love to see that we have even some of those as being a higher amount, and that you have most of those people come in as soon as possible at the beginning of the year. So we'll look at developing that kind of plan. What do you need from me right now? Because these are things that we're going to build out for this next year. What do you need from me right now so that you can move, um, from where you're at? Is there any help you're needing with closing? Any help you're needing with, having funds come in? If you need help in the chats, where do you feel like your team needs the most help, or yourself?
Funny enough, it's just being able, and I will say this in this manner. Um, I try to never miss our Wednesday calls with everyone because even when we're at different levels, I feel I can offer support, but I can also glean something every single time. And
Mm.
I think my team knows that. And I try to have them on here just so that they're listening, or I ask them to at least listen to it.
Mhm.
But we have meetings after this meeting so that we really step it up to what do we need to do next.
Mhm.
Um, I think that's what's so beneficial for us. Um, I also think I laugh and say, we never can enough. And so every time you give us a new tidbit, because someone
Mhm.
brings a challenge up,
Yes.
um, I think I've got people that probably would love and benefit from the mindset program that you did, doing it again in the early part of the year so that because our program is also mindset, um, that's the framework of it. Um, I think having those kinds of resources, um, that's really that's what we need. Part of it is us being able to have the time to work through this step by step and get it all loaded out for next year. And
Yes, exactly.
we're doing lots of meetings and then like a mini weekend together so that we can actually get all this together. So closer to that, I will probably have more questions. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it's not until you're actually in the middle of a problem, right? Where
yes.
you're like, "Oh my goodness, how are we going to?" And anybody who's watching too, right? Because Lori, there is, when you're growing and scaling, you have your attract side, you
Mhm.
have your convert for your conversion, you have deliver, and you have your scale to that next level.
Mhm.
And so if you have, right? So what you have to ask yourself is, if I know I'm going to have 60 clients, I know for sure I'm going to be doing at least 120 strategy calls if it's not you, right? And then
Mhm.
at least you're going to be doing 480 triage calls. Now, some of this, if you could do all of it in sell by chat, is a possibility. But for the model that I teach, we know that it's, a 10-minute call, you have a
Yeah.
chat. And so then you're looking at, right, 30 times this number to bring you to the chat starts. Okay. And that's looking at that
Mhm.
organically.
Okay.
And right now, you probably don't even know the question to ask me because
Not
it's not,
yet.
you're not in the place where you're like, oh my goodness, we have so many chats starting. We don't know who we're following up with. We've got this, we got this. Um, and so maybe a Christmas reading, Who Not How, right, by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin
Mhm.
Hardy, because the who is going to help you in that, as well as I'm coming up with a system to work with 100 female founders and men. For those of you who are part of my program, yes, men too, But I do offer so much other assistance with women with scaling so that you can do $1 million of sales in a day. So that will collapse your time frame of all these things. So
Hmm.
that may, in some ways, you hear about subliminal, that could be a bit supraliminal, where it's
Yeah.
just like, she just said that. And I think she said $1 million in one day, but I'm not sure that my brain can actually. So we will talk about that. Okay. Next week. And we'll have a conversation. We'll map out, what that could look like for you in the new year and get you on your way. But guys, could everybody unmute and could we just have a hoot and hollering, high fiving, celebrating time for the team? Wow. And I know your team's not on the call this second. And when they are again, we'll do it again. How does that sound? Because we want them to feel celebrated. All right, guys, what do we
You
say? Woo!
all. Thank you, guys. This is you
Celebrate.
too. This
We
is
are
you.
Well, we're celebrating you. So let Nikki and Shelby know. And
You
next time you
will.
guys are on, we'll have a little celebration. Sound good?
Okay, then. Thank you.
Okay. Love you
Thank
much,
you.
girl.
Thank you.
Blessings. So proud of you. All right. Who is ready next? I see Joseph. Hello, sir. How are you?
Just unmute. Okay, there we go. All right.
All
So
right. Share a
uh,
win.
all of that. Okay, win is I got started in new pepper group, so I had to relearn the thing because it's been a while since I did a pepper group, and so I put together a whole new thing for the other group, which is tree service, and so I got that going, and so now I have a better understanding of the process. And I didn't get very many leads out of that group. I don't understand everything. I'm still learning, but nevertheless, um, I'm I started that. I learned it. I need to get more leads. I'm not getting enough actual leads out of my Facebook. Um,
Okay, so let's walk it through. Okay, your Facebook group. How many do you have in your Facebook group?
like 85, and I haven't been inviting every day, but a few days a week when I remember. I
Okay, so let's dial into let's
people.
just let's slow the rhythm down to the blues station from your rocket fuel 90s music. How does that sound? We're just going to dial it in to the slow sounds of jazz. Okay. So 85 in your group right now. So right away, I'm going back to the $1 million daily. So just put
Okay.
that in as something that goes in 4 times a day, every day right now. Because even when we add on other channels, I want you to understand these systems that you do first. And then eventually you're going to have your team do, just as Loria shared some of those amazing features, right? As soon as you can have somebody helping you out to do that, you're not going to go, oh, wait a second, it's been 2 weeks since I didn't post. It's been 3 days since I've added people to a group. Okay. Um, so go back to that. Make sure the personal page as well that you're doing a message with your story about you and an invite for them to join the Facebook group, right?
Okay.
You're
Okay.
doing that once a day, or sorry, once a week. And then on the daily, you're following the $1 million daily, right? You're adding the 50 people a day so that you're adding to your own personal page. I call it audience stacking, right? To be up at 5,000 people. How many people do you have right now on your personal page?
Getting close to 3,000.
You're rocking it, dude.
I've been
Okay.
growing a lot. I've been growing a lot. So
So
it's
you may want to as well start to, because part of the $1 million daily is to unfriend.
right. I unfriend a few that are a nuisance.
But
And
even ones that aren't a nuisance, right? Just people that are not going to be a good fit. So if they don't have the finances, now I'm not talking about your friends, guys. Just don't hear things I don't say. So I'm not talking about like your friends, your family, your aunt, your uncle. I'm talking about people that are just not going to be a good fit for you as a client. So unfriend them if they don't have the finances, they're not coachable and not likable. So any one of these, Joseph, is enough to remove them.
okay.
So if they live in a country where they're not going to be able to pay for your services, or what you offer is not applicable to them, I
Mhm.
would I would remove them, because there's a lot of reasons why I'm doing it. Do you want me to tell you one reason?
Sure.
So we talked a little bit about Lori. So I am sharing a little bit about your future, right? So the goal is for you to get yourself up to 15K months, be going a little bit crazy because you've got so much coming in, which is a good problem to have. So you have leads coming in, you have finances coming in, the system is running, and now you need to start to hire someone.
Right.
Then when you're starting to hire someone at that point, then you can add on other channels. You don't want to ever run a Facebook ad when you don't have proof of concept, you have minimum viable product, and you are having already where you've proven and organic. If you're going to make a Facebook ad eventually, you will want to have the people that are in your audience stacking over here to be like, they're like the perfect people that if your Facebook person or your Facebook ads person or yourself does the ad, that you'll be able to look at your demographic of the people that are there. Because if you have people that you're adding into your group every single day, but you don't make a decision to get rid of and to take out the people that aren't, um, Pepper, as well as any other software, as well as a Facebook ad, is going to mimic the group, the ideal demographic that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Do you understand that? So you want to be able to unfriend in part of this process.
Right.
So if I'm hearing you right, it feels like leads, but let me ask you another question. Out of 85 people in your group, how many people have become clients?
None.
Right. So you don't have a lead problem. You have a make more offers
Right.
problem.
Okay.
How many offers are you making a day?
Um, Probably zero.
Zero. Right. So everyone who's listening, you think you have a lead problem right now, but you have likely a conversion issue. So dial back into the chats, right? So again, you're going to write down homework, unfriend 50 a day, follow the $1 million daily to a T. Think of it like science. The $1 million daily is my science. I've reverse engineered exactly the metrics. So why would anybody waffle in the land, right, of maple syrup and honey when they can go, hold on, I actually have a system and a structure that works. So lean in and do that every single day. Add your 50 a day. Make sure the marketing side of things that you're doing, right? So take care of that. And then in the chats a day, you're probably eventually anyone who's doing chats, right? I've just hired somebody who's full time in chats. You will be looking at 4 hours a day eventually. But the marketing piece has to be in place, right? So the marketing piece is, are you following the content calendar and doing that piece every day, Joseph?
Content calendar. That's posting content on an ongoing basis. So my goal
Yes.
is twice a week. So
Okay.
how?
I want you to do it every day. And if you want, you can batch, right? So you could do it once a month. If you're doing videos, are you going live every week?
I'm doing a mix, but mostly I like to go live.
Okay. And are you planning out your curriculum of what you're doing?
I'm just doing it as it comes. I mean, I have stuff. I have uh 31 keys to excellence in business. So I
Okay,
have,
31 keys is too many.
well, I'm not doing it. Not
Okay.
once. I'm doing them one at a time.
All right, that's good. Yeah, you could do one at a time. Like if your person is who's your ideal person, right? If are they busy working,
Yeah, a busy working person.
right? And he might be in a truck
Yeah.
and doing multiple things, right? So he may want like, and everyone listening, think about that, like who your person is
Hmm.
and what kind of lifestyle they have.
All right.
So if he's like, wearing a safety vest, he's got like the phone because his boss could call him at any time. He's got earbuds in, Right. So you may want to think about some sound bites that you can create for him
Mm-hmm.
and have something along those lines where, reels are really great or stories to have that 1 minute. I'm getting tons of feedback. So I don't know if it's my end. Yeah, I don't know what it's coming from. So I apologize, guys. I'm not sure.
It sounds good here.
You sound good. Okay. So if
Yeah.
you can hear me. So again, we think it's a leads problem. Often it's we are not monetizing the people that we are like the group that we already are in. If you knew you only could ever have 100 people in your group, how would you change your mindset about that?
Well, I would just want prospects in that group or people that are already doing business with me.
Okay, but out of those 85, if you haven't had anybody join, you
Right?
know already that, let's just say 42 are not your people. And then out of the other 42, we know that 15% are now buyers. So it's your job to find them. So how do you find them? Is that a good question?
Uh-huh.
You find them by posting your content, and they are going to raise their hands to self select and say, yeah, that's me. And the other way is, Pepper is starting chats with them every single day, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then you're making sure to do that sell by chat. How much time are you spending in the chats per day?
It varies on the day. Some days I work 8 or 12 hours, and so
Right.
not much. But other days, I spend time. So I go through mostly it's on Messenger that I'm having the chats.
Yes, you want them to be in Messenger, but I want you to realize that having somebody to help you as soon as possible, Joseph, like even if you have anybody, right? Somebody that can learn to be in your group and do some of the chats for you
Okay, that
is
was
going to really help things.
maybe this would be a good point to ask this question. So I was
Mm-hmm.
with somebody else and they were talking to me too about who's my person, what's their lifestyle, when should I call them, and how should I communicate to them. But also, um, person told me that it would be good to hire somebody on commission. So if they can find my people and then pay them. So if my offer is $5,000, give them 10%, which is $500, and they don't get paid until I sign somebody up. So that is one.
Okay, so here again, and I want everybody to hear this.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone out there who's giving you advice, and if you're not paying them high dollar, do not listen to them.
Okay.
I am the one who has scaled to 1 million, and I'm the one who's created this. And I've already told you exactly what you need to do. The last thing you need to do is to complicate things by talking to other people who you haven't paid money to give you advice on things they don't know anything about.
Right. So I've
So
been doing
I'm just putting that out there for everybody else too, Joseph.
I've been doing podcasts with people who are $1 million earners and stuff like that. So that's
Yeah, but
part of.
they don't, but again, they don't have the context. For example, I can tell this person doesn't know what they're talking about because you do not have somebody come in and help do closing sales until you have had proof of concept.
Okay, so okay.
You
So
have not had proof of concept yet. If you have not had proof of concept, you are not duplicatable yet.
okay, so what do I need to do to achieve proof of concept?
Well, you've got to make sure that you go back to and you go through and follow all of my modules in absolute order so that
Hmm.
you have your signature anointing,
Right?
your signature client, your signature transformation that you offer, and you're super clear so that you
Mhm.
have your signature offer,
Right?
right? So you have your PDF, you have your magnet video, you have your group set up, you have a price point minimum between 3 to 5K, right? And
Right?
then now you do the marketing side of things, right? So in the marketing, you will have somebody bump over into the conversion side. The marketing is your $1 million daily. Adding 50, adding 40, posting the groups, all those things that are on that $1 million daily page. And if anybody doesn't know what that is, send me a message. We'll get that to you. You're doing all of that. You're following the content calendar and you're doing posts and people are raising their hands and you're sending them DMs in response. You're sending them PDFs. You're starting conversations. You're running pepper. These are all your marketing activities.
Okay.
And you're doing this on the daily. So you're doing this on the daily. And then at some point, somebody is going to say, as you're going through the sell by chat process, which is part of your conversion side, right? We have attract, convert, deliver, and scale. You're starting to do the sell by chat process. They're connecting with you in chat. And then you're pre-qualifying them to see if they're a good fit. So go back, watch everything again. If you don't have the high view of this, sorry, I've got a new thing here. Just give me 1 second. A new camera. There we go. If you are connecting with people and you're connecting with them to have a 10-minute call, you're going to eventually have a strategy call with them and they're going to eventually buy. So follow all of my teaching and training to a T in that, Joseph, so that you can master it. Because if you don't master it first, you're not going to be able to lead your team well. And you don't want to bring on a person and offer them commission when you don't even you yourself haven't dialed in absolutely, because once somebody says yes to buying, what does it say about everything else?
It's things are being communicated clearly.
Things are being communicated clearly and you're solving a problem, because
Right.
also you want to be known as the person who has a strong give rhythm. You're giving, you're teaching, you're training, you're showing up, you're answering questions, you're helping them, that it doesn't look like you're a wannapreneur or it doesn't look like you're somebody out there who is just looking to have a sale. You want to be the kind of person, right? That's what when I talk about be, do, have, you want to be so that you can do the thing, that person that has the stuff that you want to have. And you want to give, 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 and then eventually ask. But this is a whole system for how to give and how to ask in an elegant way so
Mm-hmm.
that you bring in the sales, you have the metrics, you have the numbers, you have the amount of money, and your person feels like they got the better end of the deal. Right? Like listening to Lori, she's like, my whole team gets to be here. We're all on the same page. We all have the same training. We all know that it's hemmed in by the signature anointing and the call, so that Lori feels honored as the founder. And now she's bringing in lots of cash flow. It's a process that you don't want to duplicate or scale till you have proof of concept, because you may have somebody come in and then another person and you start to teach it and you go, okay, we need to make a few tweaks here before I add in anybody else in this.
Mm-hmm.
But be careful, Joseph, to me, I'll just be totally honest. Like, it's really good that you guys listen to motivators and podcasts and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But quite often it's just a shiny object.
Mm-hmm.
And you just go down a rabbit hole. And it's also not the level where you're at. Always listen for teaching and training that's about to take you, right? Because I future cast for you guys so that you feel encouraged about what you can do. But I also give you very practical steps as to how to get from where you're at to that next level.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to get to 15K months before you start listening to people that are 7-figure earners.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they're 7-figure earners, like again, you want to know that what they are also doing is something that's sustainable and scalable and ethical, and that they're doing it in an elegant way, and that they have a huge give rhythm, that they're not just 7-figure earners because they cared about themselves, but that they really cared about the people they were creating their products for.
Right.
Above all things, love well in this, Joseph.
Mhm.
So you want to have the conversion. You're now like, wow, I have proof of concept. I have minimum viable product. Like I'm having, I'm making money at this very one thing that I'm doing. Okay, I can now add somebody on. But even if you added like a son or a friend, somebody who can start to keep moving things going as a family to
Mhm.
help you to be able to make it work, right? It's no different than if you had um, a barber shop, right? And if you were the person who's cutting hair all day long, you might want your son to come in to sweep the floors, clean up all the hair because you don't even have time because you got all these guys lining outside to come in to get their haircut, right?
Mhm. Right.
So
Yeah.
so it's that, think of that floor level of like, what's the thing that you need? You need somebody to make coffee, you need somebody who's going to go run errands. And for you right now, because if you're working 12 hours a day, you're not going to be able to ever get that momentum unless you have something or somehow, or you're getting up at 4 a.m. and doing and making sure all those things are happening and you're starting the chats and you're posting and you're staying consistent. Does that make sense? Because I
Yes.
want you to get results
Right.
and I don't want you to get sucked into rabbit trails or shiny objects. What
Hmm.
you need right now is a season of setting your face like flint,
Right.
right? So that you can get that first, second, third, fourth, fifth sale. And you go, I'm doing it, coach. Now what do I do? And the good part is, I've got all those answers for you. Even if you never listen to another podcast again, you have everything that you need in here. It's just that you're going to have to go through all of these processes and changes and the valley of suck and the ability to scale to that next level. Okay.
Right.
What are some things that you've learned from this and what will you implement going forward?
Well, obviously, I need to do content every day. So I can do that. I've got a roadmap for that. I just have to make sure I make the time. Also, I need to do better follow-up with my messages and make sure I get to those people on a daily basis. And I need to eliminate the people who aren't taking me where I want to go. Those are three things.
Yeah, and to even change that verbiage, like eliminate the people that aren't taking you where you want to go, but remove the people that the problems they have are not the problems you solve,
Right? Okay.
right? Even but if you can just get really clear on what that is for you, right? So it sounds like doing more of the teaching, more of the training yourself, more speaking, rewatch everything, go back in, get a fresh start of the $1 Million Daily, get in that rhythm of what you need to do on that daily basis, and listen to what your people are saying they need most.
Hmm.
Because the more that you listen to what they're saying, the better you're going to be at communicating those results even before you're paid,
Right.
right? You want your people to think there is so much value that I get just from for free from watching. What would it be like to be with him? What would it be like to be in his academy? What would it be like? Right? That's the taste that you want to leave in their mouth. Anything that you're doing for free should actually be, this is so good. I would pay for this.
Hmm.
Okay? Does that help?
Yes, helps a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, maybe dial back to this portion of the video so that you can go through it. And any questions that you have, Joseph, just let us know in the group. Okay.
Well,
I'm excited for you.
the best thing I got out of that was have a strong give rhythm. So that's a new statement that really impacted me. So that's good. And
Glad.
very good. I know I have more questions, but I
But
can't think
get
right
started on that, right? Like
how bloody to do.
create your list of questions,
Mhm.
but don't get obsessed on that. Like you have enough to do before you go to your next thing.
Right, I
Right?
know.
Like just start teaching, start training, stick with the $1 Million Daily, stick with growing your group. If you're adding 40 people a day, you're going to have more people. If you're clear and you're speaking to your person, you'll be clear about who you can remove from a group because you'll think this is just not a good fit. Right? Like I know people for me who, women who are, or men who are still in the cycle of trauma and are not ready to have a strong give rhythm because they still need so much self care and self help. and God's deliverance, they're not ready to work with me. So I already know if I'm having a conversation with somebody and they're still in, that type of life, they're not going to be a good fit. So you have to start to be really clear, and you only get really clear by doing lots of this activity. The more
Mhm.
activity you do, then eventually it'll spill over and you'll have clients, and then you'll have a new problem. Your problem won't be leads and making money. It'll be, how do I manage this? How do I go to the next level? Who, not how, who do I hire? So build in the momentum, get these things moving. And so when I was suggesting having somebody come on board, I wasn't saying hire a salesperson. Have your son in your Facebook group, an hour or two a day, go in back in and teach him, have him watch all the sell by chat training, or a friend. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Somebody who's willing to do it because they love you for now, and they know that if they vest in you now, they will be blessed later.
Mm-hmm. That sounds.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Blessings to you, Joseph.
Thank you.
You bet you. All right. Tiffany is in the house. Hey,
Hello.
lovely. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank
Good to
you.
see you after
You
all your
too.
beautiful birthdays. Like your boys' birthdays are so close,
Yes, 2 days apart in
right?
December. So December's busy.
A tiny bit, just I would say a tiny bit. Well, what are your wins about growing your
Um,
business?
wins, I would say I am getting um, a little bit more back and forth in my chatting and people wanting my lead magnet.
Okay, that's
So that's
good.
good.
And you're probably getting more
Um,
comfortable too.
Yes, I think I'm getting more comfortable with that. The part that I still need to get more comfortable with is what the questions to ask after they watch the lead magnet and how
Yep.
to keep those conversations going and to be able to get them on a call. I think that's
Okay.
where I struggle with. Um, and I also have, I mean, that's one thing. And then my other thing is content, which it helped. Joseph's conversation helped go back to the content planner, but I get stuck on, so like when it says to post about your triangle model, I don't know what to, because I don't want to be salesy and I don't want to do that, but I never have a call to action, and so I don't, like, I think I struggle with what to do for a call to action and
Okay.
what
So
to
let me
say when
let
I
me
post
help
that.
you in this
Okay.
because there's a couple of things that are happening here. So I'm clear on this, so I'll help you on that in a second. Over here, and because salesy, like for it to be salesy, we have to remember that your offer to your client, if it's the right, if you have the solution to their problem, is that being salesy if you present it to them? If they
No.
actually have that, right? So let's say, my leg is totally bleeding. I'm in the middle of a store and somebody comes up to me and says, "Well, I don't want to appear salesy, but I have some band-aids I could give you." Okay? They have a solution for me. It almost sounds ridiculous if they were to talk like that. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
Because there is some internal stuff that's going on inside of you to not do a call to action, right? Now, if you follow my rhythm, and the reason how where it is where you have a solution, they have a problem that's a perfect fit, where it can be salesy, is our language. We want to have a pull rhythm, not a push rhythm. Okay. You want it to be
Mm-hmm.
permission based marketing, Joseph. This is for you too. And for anybody else, right? Because this is new thoughts, right? You want to have a nurture, ask rhythm. You want to have a give rhythm. See, I don't feel ever like bad in any way because I know I give, I give, I give, I give, I help, I help, I teach, I train, I teach, I train, I help, I help, to the point where I know I miss out sometimes because I haven't done an ask. And if they have a problem, Tiffany, are they going to be looking for someone to solve it?
Yes.
So if you don't say, this is what I do, if you're not direct at some point, now the problem where it is salesy is people are direct too soon. Now, not in my story about the bleeding leg in the store. You want to be direct right away in that situation. But if somebody's not bleeding to death, then you're going to have a conversation with them. It feels salesy when you start a chat that says, "Hey, do you have an agent?" Right? I don't like that approach. But if you have a strong rhythm of give in your marketing, then you're solving any problems ahead of time that could appear in your conversion model. Right? If you're already talking about things. So I'm curious as to what your marketing looks like what you are following and speaking about. Have you created a rant about things that irritate you in your field?
No, I haven't done a rant. And I think that that's, yes, I haven't done that.
Right. And so what is the resistance, if any? Like, be totally real. I'm your coach, right? So like any internal resistance going on about writing a rant.
I think it's because I don't want to, um, I always want to post positive things. So in my mind, it
Right.
sounds
Stop for one
negative.
second. Stop for one sec, everybody. Listen. Nobody buys rainbows and unicorns. No one is looking for gumdrops and jelly beans. Okay? All those things in your feed of kittens and have a great day. Happy, like, guys, please, if you ever want to really bother me, send me a message that says Happy Wednesday. Like, I just like, I cannot stand when people say things in social media when they don't have anything to say. Have an opinion, Tiffany. You're still a good Christian woman if you have a freaking real opinion about something. Are you
Okay.
tracking with me?
Yes.
Right? And I don't want you to ask permission from anyone. So what's something that bothers you either in your industry, right? So your model, your like something that's like something about the problems or the solutions, something about your industry around the whole thing. You do both the internal, what's going on, and you're talking about like the internal and the external in a lot of the things that you write. I love it. I love how you're sharing. How could you get a little more edgier so that your person goes, wait a second, this woman means, what do people say? They say she means
Business.
business. She doesn't mean rainbows and unicorns. Doesn't say that. Doesn't say she means sunshine, because no one buys neutral. People pay to have a problem solved, right? Lori came to me because she didn't have consistent 15K months. Now she's like, oh my goodness, snap. I can do 60K in 90 days. I can probably do 1 million next year. That's a new problem because she didn't even think about it before. You're helping people who have a cluttered, disorganized house, but they also have a cluttered, disorganized mind. And you're willing to walk them through how some of these things go together. You're also helping them probably with some of the grace towards their own kids that aren't operating in being orderly. Right? So what could you talk about? Just go, give me some topics that you really have going on. If you can put your good Christian girl hat into a closet for a minute and lock the door. Lock. Okay, go for it. It's locked up. Now go for it.
Okay, so as far as people who want to declutter, or they want a decluttered and organized home, but they're not willing to let go of things, or they want
Okay,
me,
so
or they want to organize.
you are a hoarder.
Yes.
There we go. There's your first topic. Next. Keep going.
Okay. You want to organize but not get rid of anything, so you just want to buy more containers and more furniture to be able to put your stuff in, or get a storage unit to put your stuff in.
Right, exactly. So what does that
Um,
remind you of in the Bible? What's a Bible story that reminds you of that?
um,
Do not store up
Store up treasures on earth.
where, come on, it's going to cause decay, right? And
Oh, yes.
the moths are coming. So how about you have a nice picture of the moths eating away at something that some woman sees as valuable?
That's good.
Then you start with your rant. So I actually warn people. I write the word rant and then I show a mean face because some Christian women love that I do that. And they're so excited that I'm brave enough to talk about the things that they haven't been brave enough yet to talk about. So what could you call that? You could write something funny in here, right? A little bit. And then you could use the Bible verse and then you can talk about this whole process of like, why are you doing this? But make them laugh about it too, right? You're not trying to bring
Mm-hmm.
condemnation. You're talking about how we all are like this,
Yeah.
right? Or show a picture. You are a hoarder and have this huge picture of all this stuff. Like, wow. So, go live in the store. I know you guys are out shopping because you really need stuff, don't you? Like, just be silly about things. Address it head on because people aren't going to pay for somebody who's nice. They're not going to pay
Mm-hmm.
for somebody who doesn't have an opinion. Because their friends all do they just make them feel better, right? When they say, oh my goodness, my husband, he's like so stressed out because I'm always fixing everything. When people are coming over, I have to make sure everything's perfect. And then the friend doesn't want to cause any trouble. You're not the friend, remember. You're an advocate for her to be changing,
Mm-hmm.
right? You don't want to come along her and go, no, that's okay. You're in Target. You've got a nice credit card. You deserve nice things. Go get some more. It's okay. Like in January, we can both go get storage spaces together. You're not that friend. Don't be that friend, right? You want to think about it in terms of, remember, I talked about you have to have authority and connection in sales in the process of sales, right? So marketing, when it's done well, makes sales easier. Write that down. Marketing, when done well, makes sales easier, right? You want people to know who you're not willing to work with. So you're not willing to work with someone who lives in the side of the river of denial. They like lying by the river of denial. They're not planning on ever getting up and making a change. So you want authority and connection. You're not going to show up as a hardcore closer, right? And you show that in your chats already, guys. You show this in your marketing. You're not showing up as a friend. If you're writing friend posts, Tiffany, do you think you're probably writing friend posts?
Probably, yes.
Right? Now, in the sales process, we don't want to coach. No, you want to teach, but you want to really want transformation. So when you're talking about, are you writing about your process? Are you writing about, I take women who are here and I'm helping them get over here, where it's in their mind, their will, their emotions, spiritually, their house is in order, but they also have a way to prioritize finally, instead of everything being urgent and necessary, and help them
Mm-hmm.
to let go of junk, but also let go of the junk in their mind, their will, their emotions, and in their soul, right? So you're going to
Mm-hmm.
have to be clear and talk about the problem and then talk about this process and then talk about the outcomes that you're going to help them with, because you are truly an advocate. I'm truly your advocate. That's why. And you can feel a difference on a sales call with somebody who's an advocate versus somebody who's a hardcore closer,
Mm-hmm.
right? if you're really talking to them about like the problems they have, their vision, where do you want to be? What do you want your house to be like, your spiritual house? What do you want your real house to look like? Let's This is what I do is I make them a reality for you.
And that's what
So
I'm thinking. Nobody even knows that I have a coaching program, so I don't even know what. Uh, that's another thing I don't know, like how
nobody
to.
buys programs.
They buy coaches.
People buy coaches, not coaching. No one is
Well,
on social media. Not one person goes on social media, goes, I'm going to buy a coach today, coach today, coach today. I'm going to buy a coach. They're not scrolling looking for
mhm.
programs. They're looking for people that say something that matters, right? They're looking for entertainment, education, and encouragement. That's what they're looking for, the 3 E's. And so in your writing, you want to be entertaining to the degree that's really you. If you're not someone who dances on TikTok, then don't dance on TikTok. But you want to teach them. My guess is you do want to have somebody who is, and we've talked about this, you want someone who is problem aware, solution aware, you aware, and now aware. This is the holy ease of buying is over here, the problem and solution. So if your person doesn't even know they have a problem, you're like, don't speak to that person to try to teach them that they have a problem.
Okay.
You are looking for the person who already knows. She's like, wait a second here. And then just list all those things. I am over perfectioning. I'm a perfectionist in my house because somehow that makes me feel better about what's going on in my mind, my marriage, and my family. And talk about it. Be super real, right? And if you're comfortable talking about your own story, make sure you're sharing your story once a week on all platforms and in your personal page, as well as in your Facebook group.
Mm.
People buy coaches, not coaching. No one who posts, here's my coaching program and here's my link. Like, there's no reality really where people will just go, oh, great. That's exactly like maybe, right? Again, I go back to my analogy about buying my Porsche. I knew what I was looking for. So when I called the guy, I said, I don't want to haggle. I don't want to come to your showroom. I don't want to talk to you even. I just want you to wrap it in plastic wrap and deliver it on a flatbed to my house. That was his whole sales conversation with me because I was, I knew I didn't have one. I knew I wanted one. I knew exactly, I'd done all my research. I know exactly what color, everything I wanted. I looked online, they were the only ones I could find. And so I was in the buyer's holy ease of buying. As you move along, Tiffany, you're going to want to go, okay, like what can be entertaining? So you want to have a balance, right? You want to encourage. You see how I create soakings. You could create some audio soakings where you have 1 minute where you just meet your person. You say, I see you. I see you rise up for your kids. I see that you're every detail about your life. You're tucking in their bed and their room looks like it's on whatever. You can make part of it funny. And I see you and God sees you too. And he sees that you're his precious daughter. Right. So you could do some of those things that's going to bring rapport and connection, but they're going to also see that you are the go-to person to solve their problem because you want solution aware. You don't want just problem aware people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like I'm not out going to people going, you know what? Your job is soul sucking you. I'm not out there convincing them of that. I'm looking for people who already go, I I think I don't think that the biggest scam is making money online. I think the biggest scam is the slow money making system of working for somebody for 40 years and getting a pen at a dinner. Okay.
Mhm.
My person goes, yeah, you're my person. I'm not looking to try to convince somebody like, oh, the education system isn't that good. I'm not out there trying to get them so warmed up so that I'm doing all this work here. So don't do all the work there. Go. What could you come up with that you can be real in? Or what's going on for you right now that is preventing you from creating what's really on the inside of you?
Okay, could you repeat that question? Sorry.
Yeah, because I did two at once. Because there's two levels that's going on in you, which is the two levels you're working with your people. I was just trying to get all meta on you, right? But what is, maybe the first thing is like, what is preventing you from being that bold and talking about it? Because it's the very thing. If you bring those real conversations into the light and into the social media and from your heart and head into the public, it's that's going to change your person's life forever. They don't need another friend who's like, it's okay, don't worry, we'll pay off the credit card in January. It's okay that I can't put another thing in the closet because I'll just lock it and put a big block in front of it and I'm going to pretend everything's fine. You have the fine girls, okay? You serve the fine girls, but you want to talk to the people that don't want it to be pretend that it's fine anymore.
Yeah.
So, how can you get edgy? And at the same time, I don't think it's a how. You're super creative. What's going on inside of you that's preventing you from writing the rant?
I think I've been like wanting to make sure I do everything right, but then I'm having that so so I've been unsure of what to do because I don't want to I don't know if I'm giving the right language to that. Um
Right? Which is exactly what your person deals with, right?
yes.
Right?
Yeah,
You're
I need
going
to
through the
just
process behind closed doors about the business, which is exactly what she's going through in her day to day life.
mhm.
But it's an internal resistance inside yourself. Trust me, guys, I went through this years ago. You have to eventually just go, you know what? If they're not going to speak at my funeral, I really don't care what you have to say.
And I think I've also been feeling a little like I have someone coming over after this to help me with my house because since I was sick, my house has been in complete disarray. And I need to go through and do what I do in other people's homes. I need to purge my toys. I need to clean. And every day I'm like, I
So
haven't even
you're
been
not going to
able to
like
do
this.
my,
You're not going to like this,
I know I need to,
but I want you to do it. I want you to record it,
yes, I knew. I was
right?
like, oh,
Like,
I do have content right now. I have a lot of content. I could be recording this as I'm doing it, but it's, yeah, okay.
because it's also, it's like you have to eat humble pie,
Yeah.
right? Like that's why, did a post, I don't know when it was, a month ago or something, where I had a picture of me where I built Boss Lady Biz Coach in the corner of my master bedroom as a single mom. And on moving day, like to our new house, my husband's like, you got to capture this because, when you have millions of followers and people know you all over the world and you're making $1 million a day, like you want to actually celebrate like who you are and how you've become and what you've done. I'm like, oh my goodness. It's so, because our mind is like, no, I don't want to show that. People love it when we're that real. They want to see what you've gone through. They want to know about what you're currently going through, Tiffany. And so if we think that we're going to have an outcome that we really want and we detach ourselves from showing people the very thing that builds the know like and trust, we're not going to have that outcome. Your
Okay. I'm going to
person
record it.
needs to go through the journey with you. right? But even just being like, you know what? Because everyone like, and I know this is good, Joseph will get this, as somebody who's done like contracting work, Lori about writing. It's like Lori like probably gets behind on her 3 books that she's writing because she's helping other people write books. Joseph's going, I had a friend and he had a building company, and his wife and I, she was on the worship team with me, and she's like, I know he builds these homes for people, but we have been in the middle of, you know, trying to build a kitchen. She didn't even have running water in her kitchen. Right. So it's those very things we don't want to tell people, but it's the very thing that they're going to really trust you because you're willing to share with them. Be willing to sit across a kitchen table with your person, set up your camera and be like, um, I just want to be really transparent with you guys. I've been super sick. I've had all these birthdays. Talk about, if you feel comfortable, about your husband, about some of the things. Be really real with them. Say, I'm having somebody come in and help me right now. And these are some of the things I'm going through. And then you'll probably get lots of amazing ideas as you're starting to do this. And you guys have to remember, you don't have 1 million followers or making $1 million a day right now. This is the perfect time to fail.
Mm-hmm.
It's the very best time because you'll get better at it, right? You're going to feel more confident, Tiffany, if you're saying, right? Or you may come up with, hey, I just came up with a really great idea for how to organize, toys so that you can give away the right ones. Maybe you'll come
Mm-hmm.
up with a different system, right? Like the Marie Kondos and all the inventions of things that have happened, right? How Spanx got created. All these things get created as solutions, and they didn't like just emerge and be like, "Hi, I'm professional and perfect now, and I have the greatest product for you." No, it came from interviews with people, conversations with people, difficulties, challenges. They all were opportunities to grow and get to know your person better and better and better and better and better. And having that opportunity and go live in your group will be like, they'll be like, wow, like, my goodness, she's so amazing. And then have like before and after pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
Right? Because that you want to earn the right to be paid well.
Mm-hmm.
And you earn the right to be paid well by inviting people into the process and bringing solutions for them at every stage. Right? Like I did not know when I had 10 kids under the age of 13 and running companies and all the things that I went through. I didn't know it was giving me the skill set and the capacity to train people at the highest level and have solutions for SOPs for their kids, SOPs for their house manager. You don't know when you're going through that, but you're training for reigning. So be really real about your process, not to the point where it's licentiousness or going off the deep end where, it's doing, people do those things to get from people, right? It's just a real give rhythm. And for them to see how you're able to turn situations around, like that is you're the queen of being able to do that. You're not the fine girl. You're the girl who's saying, even though, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, it's just a shadow. And here's
Mm-hmm.
how to be able to clear it out in your mind and in your home. You're not saying that the enemy isn't present. You're saying, look what I can do while the enemy is staring right at me.
So
And that's
good.
and that's why she loves you. She doesn't love you because you're the fine girl. Does anybody here watch people that are like, hi, everything's perfect in my life. Just follow me. I don't burn anything. All the food is perfect. Everything. No, no one wants that person around. Nobody even wants that person to talk to. You have grit and grace. You sharing your real story and what you're really going through is what people are just going to love and stay glued to the screen. They want to know. because it's not just educational, but it's encouragement. They're inspired, right? You think of that woman you're talking to. She's fixating on all this stuff because her husband's having affairs with women all the time. And she can't even tell people at her church. So she becomes a fine girl. You don't want her to live
Mhm.
in that prison. You want her to come forward and be all that God has called her to be. You can have a beautiful home just as long as you have a beautiful mind and heart, too. Okay, girl?
Okay, thank you. Yes, so
You
helpful.
got this. Can't wait to hear all your stories. We're all going to follow you. Lori, I love how you always love bomb everyone else. Guys, this is
Mm-hmm.
what it's really about. You know, I had a call with a client this morning and super amazing woman, MBA, smart as anything. And, you know, she's believing that she'll meet somebody and be married. And like, I've been working with her for long years. And I was like, I'm going to be at that wedding. Like, make it so real for you, Tiffany, every detail. Like, feel like you're in the room with the other people, that they are so glued to the screen about what you're doing and how you're helping, because it's not just how to set up everything perfectly. It's the very things that their dream of having their family, the dream of having the connection with their husband, the dream of having people over and loving well. They really want to know how, and you are the answer. Love
Thank
you
you.
much. Okay.
Love you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Talk soon. You bet. Well, gang, we are at that time of our call where we need to wrap up. Um, who would like to pray us out? Tiffany, do you want to pray us out?
Sure, I'd be glad to. Thank you, Father, for this time that we've had together to just lean in and glean from what Coach Sheila has to teach us and just the anointing that she carries, Lord. I thank you that we get to learn from each other and go through this journey on becoming who you've created us to be. I just thank you for the wisdom and that we can go forward this week and continue to grow and improve in all areas of our business and in life, Lord. We just love you so much and honor you. We give you all the praise and all the glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. If you guys want to unmute, love you guys so much. Have a fabulous season. Lean in, do the work, show up for yourself, show up for your people. They're praying for you. I know it's a Christmas season, but it's a perfect opportunity for you to pour into their lives. So we'll see you next week, same time, same channel. Love you guys. Have a great rest of your week. Bye for now.